Hello, everyone. Welcome to Celsius 233, your go-to place for fiction book summaries. Today, we will enter the world crafted in The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne, published in 1850, is a seminal work of American literature, blending romance, historical fiction, and Gothic elements. Set in the 17th century Puritan society of Massachusetts, it explores themes of sin, guilt, and redemption through the tragic tale of Hester Prynne. Hawthorne's exploration of the moral rigidity and the social judgments imposed on individuals gives the novel its lasting relevance, as it delves deeply into the complexity of human emotions and the consequences of breaking societal norms. Plot summary. In the Puritan settlement of Boston, Hester Prynne stands on a scaffold in public humiliation, holding her infant daughter, Pearl. A scarlet letter A is embroidered on her chest, marking her as an adulteress, condemned by the stern, pious community. Hester's husband, long thought lost at sea, had sent her ahead to the New World, but she had committed adultery in his absence. As part of her punishment, she must wear the scarlet A for the rest of her life. From the scaffold, Hester spots a man in the crowd, her husband, Roger Chillingworth, who has arrived in Boston and is shocked to find his wife publicly shamed. Disguising his identity, Chillingworth visits Hester in prison and vows revenge on the father of her child, though he implores Hester not to reveal his true identity. Hester, however, refuses to name Pearl's father, and as she emerges from the prison to live a life of solitude on the outskirts of town, the weight of her silence becomes an unspoken burden. Years pass, and Hester remains isolated, earning a modest living as a seamstress. Pearl grows into a wild and unruly child, often seen as a symbol of her mother's sin. Despite her difficult position, Hester remains strong, her beauty fading into a more austere grace as she bears her punishment with quiet dignity. She helps the poor and tends to the sick, gradually earning the reluctant respect of the community, though the Scarlet Letter continues to brand her as an outcast. In the town's religious life, Reverend Arthur Dimmesdale is a beloved and revered minister, known for his eloquent sermons and piety. Yet, beneath his saintly exterior, Dimmesdale is tormented by a secret that gnaws at his soul. He is the father of Pearl. His guilt manifests in physical and emotional anguish, weakening his body and spirit. Though he longs to confess, his fear of losing his esteemed position in the eyes of the community keeps him silent. His health declines as his sin festers, but he remains too weak to come forward. Chillingworth, posing as a physician, gradually ingratiates himself into Dimmesdale's life, suspecting the minister's connection to Hester's sin. He becomes Dimmesdale's personal doctor, secretly probing his psyche and feeding off his inner turmoil. As Chillingworth observes the young minister's tortured soul, his desire for vengeance grows into a malevolent obsession. He transforms into a figure of pure malevolence, using his proximity to Dimmesdale to manipulate and torment him, though his suspicions remain unspoken. Hester watches the slow destruction of Dimmesdale's spirit with increasing concern. Though she has borne her punishment outwardly, she sees the devastating toll that secrecy has taken on the man she loves. One day, in a moment of desperation, Hester meets Dimmesdale in the forest, away from the prying eyes of the townspeople. There, she reveals Chillingworth's true identity as her husband and urges Dimmesdale to escape his torment by leaving Boston with her and Pearl. The possibility of a new life together briefly rekindles Dimmesdale's spirit, and the two resolve to flee to Europe after Dimmesdale delivers his final sermon. On the day of the minister's climactic sermon, Boston is filled with a sense of anticipation. Dimmesdale, though physically frail, delivers a powerful speech, touching the hearts of all who hear him. The sermon is hailed as his finest work, cementing his status as a spiritual leader. Yet, as the procession moves through the town, Dimmesdale suddenly falters. With Hester and Pearl by his side, he mounts the scaffold where Hester had once stood in shame. In front of the gathered crowd, Dimmesdale confesses his sin and reveals the scarlet letter that has been etched upon his own chest through his guilt and suffering. Dimmesdale collapses, exhausted from the weight of his confession. He bids farewell to Hester and Pearl, asking for their forgiveness, and then dies in their arms, finally free from the torment that had consumed him for so long. The crowd, shocked by the revelation, stands in awe, unsure how to reconcile the image of their revered minister with the sinful man he had been in secret. Chillingworth, having lost the object of his revenge, withers away. Without Dimmesdale to feed his malicious obsession, he soon dies, leaving his fortune to Pearl, whom he had never acknowledged as his target of torment. Pearl and Hester depart for Europe, and Pearl, no longer ostracized, is said to have grown into a woman of grace and fortune. Years later, Hester returns to Boston, alone. She resumes her solitary life in the cottage where she had once lived with Pearl, still wearing the Scarlet Letter, though its meaning has shifted over time. No longer a symbol of shame, it has come to represent her strength and endurance. Hester becomes a quiet counselor to other women suffering under the weight of society's judgment, her scarlet, now a mark of wisdom. She lives out her days in solitude, and upon her death, she is buried near Dimmesdale, their graves marked with a single tombstone engraved with a scarlet A. If you loved this, don't stop here. Check out other books by Nathaniel Hawthorne. You'll find them below or on Celsius 233. Remember, while our summaries capture the essence, they can never replace the full experience of reading the book. If this summary intrigued you, consider diving into the complete story, buy the book, and immerse yourself in Nathaniel Hawthorne's original work. Bye-bye, take care, have fun.